Perimeters there are the 210 freeway on the north, the Foothill Freeway, the Golden State Freeway on the south, Sunland Boulevard on the east, and the 118 freeway on the west. Now, once again, all streets leading into those areas are closed off now. That's central Los Angeles, south central Los Angeles, and the area of Sunland out in the valley, out where this incident first started 14 months ago, and they will remain shut down until further notice. So that's a large area of the city cordoned off now. Officials can't say, as you can imagine, if that's going to include tomorrow morning's rush hour traffic. So we're going to have to keep you posted on that, because that could really be a mess. But you know, a lot of those areas, there are not going to be jobs for people to drive to anyway.
Well, unfortunately, that's back to Fernell Chapman in the Crenshaw district and see what's going on out there. Fernell.
Well, once again, as I have been reporting to you over the last couple of hours, there is a major fire, and it continues to burn out of control.
Now, you talk about looting. We've got some of that on tape. Really sad, a sad sight to see and a very ugly sight to see. This is in south central Los Angeles, the vicinity of 84th and Vermont. Taped a little bit earlier by Laurel Erickson and her cameraman, Lou Zapata.
Well, this is where they torched. This is, I think, in the downtown area. They've torched some palm trees. Of course, they did this all over the place, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's the same one. But the tape we saw earlier, they taped 4 different palm trees along the freeway, and the individual who did it didn't seem to mind that we were there watching it.
We've got
Kelly and John, yes. There had been some hope several hours ago that the pace of the night, the pace of the emergencies was slowing down. But we have to tell you, here at the Command Dispatch Center for both LAPD and the LA Fire Department, it has been regular. Every 5 to 10 minutes, there's been another convoy of units, fire companies, paramedics, always accompanied by police metro units going out with them.
We'll now join our owned and operated station in Los Angeles, KNBC, which has extended its evening broadcast in continuing coverage of the story.
And almost all the other fires, we have seen people gathered around, the people on the streets, but it appears as though it's now a quarter till 2 in the morning, but it appears as though the streets are now emptying out. Is that correct downtown?
Well, I wouldn't say that it's a mob scene down here by any chance, but just looking across the street, I can probably see maybe 100, 150 people, like you said, just standing around watching things happening here.
Indeed, demonstrations are being held throughout the state. Early today in San Jose and Palo Alto, demonstrations in response to the acquittal. Police in San Jose report a group of demonstrators marched through downtown streets and rallied outside San Jose City Hall and police station. Police say there are unconfirmed reports of broken windows. There does not appear to be any apparent looting in San Jose, and this was as of 1 o'clock this morning. A police spokeswoman says she believes the marchers came from earlier demonstrations of about 100 students at San Jose State. In Palo Alto, about 100 Stanford students holding a candlelight demonstration at this hour outside Palo Alto City Hall. All this a response to the decision in Simi Valley.
If you've been watching us, you may know that a couple of hours ago the governor came on, Governor Wilson, and talked about what kind of support we would actually get from the state. Something like 750 CHP officers are now available. Most of them will come from the Southern California area, although if needed, those up north will be available.
And the verdict on the streets of Los Angeles.
This is Daybreak with Patrick Greenlaw and Kathy Marshall. News, weather, and sports every 15 minutes.
Good morning. The latest reports are that 3 people have been killed in Los Angeles in a night of rioting. The violence followed not guilty verdicts on nearly all counts in the videotaped police beating of a black motorist. Angry mobs roamed the city, burning buildings, looting, and beating white motorists. At least 40 fires were set, and at least 108 people were injured, including 1 firefighter hit by a sniper's bullet. At least 25 people were arrested. And the Rapid Transit District suspended bus service after 4 drivers and a passenger were injured.
That was a scene just hours ago. For the very latest right now, let's check in with CNN's Ann McDermott. She joins us live from Los Angeles with the very latest. Ann?
Well, the smell of smoke is everywhere this morning, but things seem to be calming down somewhat. However, there are still a lot of fires. In some cases throughout the evening, fires were burning out of control. This was partly because in some cases there simply were not enough firefighters to get to them, and in other cases it was simply too dangerous for firefighters to approach. In fact, one firefighter was injured. He was shot in the cheek. He is said to be in pretty good condition. We are now hearing that there are 5 people dead, more than 100 wounded. Some of these wounded are gunshot wounds. There have been isolated instances of sniper firing, and also some people have been pulled from cars and trucks, taken from their vehicles, and beaten. There have been pockets of looting this evening, throughout the evening, occasionally in full view of the television cameras. It does not seem to have inhibited some people. Also, besides the looting, there have been some damage to a lot of stores, and in some cases, they have been torched. But even looters, it seems, get tired. That seems to be the case now, but police officers are still on tactical full alert. Planes have had to be rerouted as they made their approach to Los Angeles International Airport. This is because the smoke was just too heavy for some of the pilots to see. Schools in some areas will be closed this evening. There is going to be a curfew this evening, and also there is a ban on gun sales and ammunition. Meantime, 2,000 National Guardsmen are standing by. Now, one final note, it is important to remember that many, many people in these neighborhoods where the disturbances are taking place are just as upset about the violence as anyone. They are asking for calm. They are asking for an end to the violence.
Reporting live from Los Angeles, and she will keep us updated throughout the morning on the very latest developments from there. Los Angeles County is under a state of emergency in the wake of violence spawned by acquittals in the Rodney King beating trial. Now, the latest word from the Los Angeles Police Department is that 5 people have been killed. Rioters have shot at firemen who have been trying to put out dozens of blazes, and looting is widespread.
It's Thursday, April 30th, 1992. World News This Morning continues with Mike Schneider.
Good morning to you once again. Our top story this morning comes from Los Angeles following the verdict in the 4 police officers who were accused in the beating of the motorist Rodney King. They were found not guilty of almost all the charges, and one charge was simply unable to be arrived at in terms of a verdict. That was followed by fires and riots and looting spreading from one neighborhood to another throughout the night there in Los Angeles. There have been deaths, 5 deaths reported at the latest, and dozens of people have been hospitalized for injuries in the rioting. Black leaders around the country denounced the verdict and also appealed for calm, and the Justice Department now has agreed to pursue a civil rights investigation into the Rodney King beating case. Of course, the reaction to the situation is coming in as we speak. Among those questioning the verdict in the King case is the Democratic presidential candidate Bill Clinton.
Stay with us.
This is the CBS Morning News for Thursday, the 30th of April. Good morning. I'm Meredith Vieira.
And I'm Charles Osgood, and here are the top stories. In Los Angeles, fires raged throughout the night after 4 white policemen are found not guilty of assault in the beating of a black motorist. 5 people are killed and scores injured as rioters and looters take to the streets. The governor of California declares a state of emergency and puts National Guard troops on alert.
The police officers cleared in the case say justice is served. Others around the nation denounced the verdict, and the Justice Department plans a review. The verdict and the violence come 14 months after the videotaped beating of motorist Rodney King stunned the nation.
They are calling it the worst night in Los Angeles since the Watts riots of 27 years ago. With the latest on the situation in the streets of Los Angeles, Bill Lagatuda joins us now. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Charles. The fires here continue to burn in Los Angeles. There are reports that 5 people have now been killed in the rioting and scores have been injured. A citywide emergency has been declared. It was the first indication it would be a long, ugly night. A white man who was dragged from the cab of his truck and beaten mercilessly by a group of black men. The victim did nothing except drive into South Central Los Angeles.